What's up, fight fans? And we're back at it with another edition of Round One Sports TV. I just want to know, can you hear me out there? Can you let me know in the chats if you can hear me? I gotta let me check this real quick. Can you hear me in the chat? Is my mic good? Can you hear me? Damn it, I hope you could hear me. All right, well, let's start this stream. Let's start the video. All right, well, Naoya Inoue and Tapales is coming into a highly anticipated matchup on December 26th. Now, the reason why I wanted to come and make this video, I wanted to get your reactions to the Naoya Inoue and Tapales fight. Now, I scoured over the internet to try to like look up some of Tapales' fan base and what they think about the fight and how they see the fight going. Now, a lot of the fans out there are saying that Tapales is just fighting another Japanese fighter. According to them, they believe that Tapales is nothing but another Japanese fighter in the road of his career, right? And that Inoue is nothing different, right? Okay, now I beg to differ, right? I'm like, well, this Japanese fighter is nothing like any other Japanese fighter before. Now, Tapales is going to be coming into this matchup, and he thinks by any chance that Naoya Inoue is the same as any Japanese fighter, he's in for a rude awakening. And I don't think he thinks that. But as far as his fans go, they're under the assumption that Naoya Inoue is still a hype job. Naoya Inoue is still not been fought anybody. As a matter of fact, as far as the Tapales fans go, they're saying that they hyped up Stephen Kubo Fulton and they advertised him as the best 122 pounder in the world, which in fact he's not. According to Tapales' fan base, they're saying that Tapales is the best because of the fact that they were saying at the time that MJ was the number 122 pounder in the world and that they just hyped up Stephen Kubo Fulton. And by him beating MJ, it made Tapales the best 122 pounder in the world. So that is what a lot of Tapales' fan base is saying right now. They're all saying like, that they just boosted up Stephen Kubo Fulton because of the fight and the magnitude of the fight. That the only person that Stephen Kubo Fulton actually fought that had a pretty good name was Brandon Figueroa. Right? Figueroa. So, like, all right, that's kind of like, you know, you could look at it and view it that way, and you could say, yeah, in a sense it is. But now, who has Tapales fought besides MJ, right? And truth be told, right? MJ, he's a great fighter, but he doesn't have a lot of boxing experience, right? The other night he just came into a fight and he came into the fight, what, 11-1-8, right? So by Marlon Tapales beating MJ and then them claiming the right that he's the number one 122 pounder in the world rather than it being Stephen Kubo Fulton, right? So I don't I don't I don't debate the argument that Stephen Kubo Fulton wasn't the best 122 pounder in the world. That's up for argument. You know, because some people can say, yeah, he really wasn't all that polished. He wasn't on the Inoue level anyway, or he wasn't even that much. He's pretty good. But now, as far as the men that they do have in the 122-pound weight division, um, yeah, I think coming into that fight, Stephen Kubo Fulton was, you know, and then Tapales put his name in the argument by beating MJ. Yeah, but I don't think what they're saying about the Japanese superstar, about him being just another Japanese fighter to the Filipino superstar, and that the Filipino superstar really has fought this style of opponent before, and he has fought in Japan before, that it's not going to really make a difference to him. Now, that's their argument. And I was like, well, real interesting. I was like, yeah, they made a lot of good points. Yes, he did fight a lot of Japanese fighters. He has fought in Japan, right? And yes, if I had to look at it, as of right now, I kind of do believe that Tapales is a better fighter, and a more, I would say, he is a more he has more experience than Stephen Kubo Fulton. Yeah, so I can see their argument, and I can see where they're standing on that. They're standing on the fact that they're saying, okay, he's once again, he Stephen Kubo Fulton wasn't the best 122 pounder. They're saying Tapales is the best 122 pounder because he beat MJ. Okay, strong argument. He has fought Japanese fighters before. He has fought in Japan before. They're making it, their argument is, okay. But at the same token, what I'm saying is, none of these guys and none of these Japanese fighters that he came up against are anything like uh Naoya Inoue. I don't believe any of them possess, I think they skill wise, yes. I don't think they possess the same power, and I don't think that they possess the same boxing intuition inside of the ring, meaning in certain events, what punch selection were they going to choose versus in a way, you know what I mean? So I don't really think that Tapales and his fan base are really taking a lot of those things into consideration. And plus, like, you also have to take in consideration that yes, Tapales did fight a lot of Japanese fighters, okay, but he didn't fight the number one best Japanese fighter. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Nayo uh Naoya Inoue has proven to be, and he came out of Japan as the number one best Japanese fighter current date. Yes, hats off to Tapales. Yes, his fan base is correct. Yes, he has fought um Japanese fighters, but he didn't fight the number one Japanese fighter. And that's what I'm saying. Um what's up, Shug? What's up, Big Shug? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I think round one. I think you're the next Stephen A. Smith. Hey, thanks a lot for your compliment, man. Thanks. That means a lot. That's big right there. Next Stephen A. Smith. That's pretty big. That's where I'm shooting. That's where I'm headed. I'm trying to go that way. But thank you for letting me know that you can hear me and that you can see me in the audio and everything. Hey, bud. What's up, Snake? What up? What's up, Snake? My man. You know what I mean? Glad you guys can join us. We're just getting into the topic about Naoya Inoue and Tapales. And what I did was, just to recap what I was talking about, what I did was I was asking like a lot of the Tapales supporters and how they view the fight and how they see the fight going. And basically they were saying like this is not nothing new to Tapales. Number one, he's already fought in Japan. Number two, he's fought multiple Japanese fighters and he's beaten them all. And number three, they were hyping up Stephen Kubo Fulton to being the number one best 122 pounder, which in fact he was not. They're saying that Tapales beat the man that was the man, so that makes him the best 122 pounder in the world. And going back with his fan base, I was saying, I can agree to the fact that I believe that Tapales was more battle tested than Stephen Kubo Fulton. And I also believe he has more boxing experience. Yes, I'll agree to that. But coming into the matchup, Tapales' name was nowhere near. He wasn't in the conversation. It was Stephen Kubo Fulton and MJ. Those were the names that would bring him out there. So now that he beat MJ, now he throws his name into the conversation, and which I can agree to that. I agree to all of that. Yes, he's fought in Japan fighters. Yes, but like I said, he didn't fight the number one Japanese fighter in the world. He did not. And this Japanese fighter has separated himself from everyone else. Coming up, in fact, when he was 19 years old, Naoya Inoue, coming up in Japan, he won the Oriental Pacific title, which is like, that's a title you want to get and like in your region. And as far as Japan, that was like saying you were the top dog over there. It's not a traditional world title belt, but it's a belt that you want your fighter to get, because if he can get that, okay, now let's see what's next. Let's see if he can go for a world title. And not only being 19 years old, you know, within 1 year of turning pro with no gold medal. Usually, a fighter will come into boxing, and because he gets a gold medal, he'll get a title shot. That's why a lot of people made a lot of criticism over Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko getting a title shot in his second title fight. It's because he didn't have one, but two gold medals. It was ridiculous that he got two, but he did. And the golden boy, Oscar De La Hoya, he got a title shot very early. Floyd Mayweather bronzed in the Olympics. He got a bronze medal. But out of the gentlemen that entered that Olympics with Floyd Mayweather, he was the first to fight for a world title. You see? So that's what's impressive about Naoya Inoue right now, is that he did it with no gold medal. He did it with no big promotion backing him. The gentleman that was backing him in Japan later on unified with Top Rank, which is a big deal. Because let me tell you, if I was a small promoter and Top Rank asked me to come part of that's a no-brainer. Where do I you know what I'm saying? Because Top Rank's been around forever. No matter what you say, you're in the business now with a big name like them. Okay. So in the beginning, the Japanese superstar was not promoted by Top Rank. I want you to keep that in mind. He didn't have no gold medal. He wasn't promoted by Top Rank. None of that. In fact, he fought on HBO. That's how far back Naoya Inoue's fights are going. He was on HBO on a few of his fights. And HBO's been gone for a while. So he goes and he fights. And like I said, he did this the hard way. He legitimately did it the hard way. One fight after another. He denied every fight that was a so-called tune-up fight. He only wanted guys, I mean, for God's sake, on his first professional fight, the fighter that he fought, his first fighter that he fought had 16 fights, one loss. That guy was a basic established professional boxer. And that, you imagine telling that guy, hey, you got 16 professional fights. Yeah, listen, this guy, he has this is his debut. We would like you to fight him. But they're saying, but that guy was Japanese. He was Japanese. So they were kind of fighting for like the top dog spot, you know? And he was like, yeah, I'll break this dude. He knocked him out, you know? So it goes to show you he did it the toughest way possible. So as moving up, Top Rank took notice to him. Then Top Rank signed him. Top Rank started working with his promoter in Japan, which is the same guy. And the one good thing I like about the Japanese superstar He's never switched up. He stays loyal to his people, stayed on the same team like Tim Duncan, baby. You know what I'm saying? Same coach, same promoters, same people, no switching up. No, if I things go wrong, I'm jumping ship. None of that. Very, very, very um, loyal. That's the word I can use. He's loyal. Because I've seen a lot of boxers switch camps, jump ships, to bigger promoters and screw the guy that brought him up with him. I've seen that all day in boxing. But this guy right here, and it goes to show you when he was coming up, he won the first title. He vacated that title. He saw that he could no longer make that 108-pound division. For God's sake, he started at 108 pounds. 108 pounds. That's pretty remarkable. And so he was a well-polished fighter coming out the gate. Now, Tapales' style does not cater to the boxing style pro se, where that he's not your typical, jab, looping boxer where he's cutting and stuff, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know how to fight. If you take your time and if you want to, take your time and watch that fight against MJ. He was catching MJ with some shots in that fight. I'm telling you, MJ was surprised. But when the one thing about Tapales I've noticed in every single one of his losses was the same pattern. If you push Tapales and you bring it to him where that he's not comfortable, you see, a fighter can fight 12 rounds easy being comfortable. Yo, he's doing whatever he wants. But you put him in trouble, right? And you push him back, and you constantly pushing that fighter back with that going backwards all night, that will fatigue you. That will drain you. And with the body shots that are coming his way, come on, we all know about Inoue's body shots. Truth be told, um, I'm not a gambling man. I don't really gamble all that much. You know what I'm saying? I'll mess around, put a bet here and there, but just in case if you want to put your money, I would put it that the fight's probably not going to last more than 4 rounds. I don't see the fight getting past 4. And the reason why I say 4 is because no lefty has passed 3. So I'm gonna take one more round to play it safe, you know? And the lefties that he came across, I also did my homework on the lefties that he came across, right? Um, Interesting enough, I don't think Tapales is the best lefty he came across. Well, well, man, he came all right. Well, all right. That's a matter of opinion. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be biased. I'm not gonna. I'm kind of thinking this thing in through in my head. All lefties are not the same. All lefties do not understand the same thing. But when you fight a lefty, it's basically the same concept, and you want that overhand right to go over. So, how are you, my friend? Yeah. I think that's the only thing that's gonna happen. I believe he's gonna knock him out. I don't think that. And you know wanna know what the special thing is about the Japanese superstar? And I inquired about this because I wanted to know what it's like to be a man in his situation where everybody expects every fight that you come out to knock someone out. Do you go into the fight wanting to knock the person out? And with a name like the Monster, is it hard to keep that image? I mean, he never wanted that name. They gave him that name because people saw him and were like, in Japan, they were like, man, that kid's a monster as he was coming up. But when he was asked in an interview, he said he never liked that name. He never really chose. He went along with it. Then his promotional was like, nah, we keeping it, you know? So he didn't, I mean, it wasn't something that really, I guess, bothered him, but because he concentrated on the fighting. But Does he come into the fights all the time from here on in thinking, I have to get a knockout? I got to get a knockout in order to become the next household name in America. I have to go out there from now on and do exactly what I was doing. Does he go in the ring thinking he can get a knockout all the time? And I saw an interview that he was in, and he was talking about exactly that point. And he said, I never go out looking for the knockout. That's what the Japanese superstar said. He said, I just let nature take its course. He says, whatever happens, happen. I fight the fight the way I feel the fight going. I was like, wow, what an answer. That's a fighter right there. That's a fighter right there, man. That's a great answer. Because you shouldn't go into a fight looking for a knockout, and because you can get knocked out. So you know, it just goes to show that, in his preparation and his performance, and when he's leading up into a fight, he's training for 12 rounds. That's what that tells you. If he's not preparing for a knockout and he's not looking for a knockout, then every fight that he's going in, he's preparing to go 12 rounds. And if the night ends up coming up short, then shall be it. That's his mentality. That's a great mentality. That's a champion's mentality, you know? And I tell you what, it was a shame that Stephen Kubo Fulton had to be the one to fall in the way he did to showcase Naoya Inoue's talent, but someone's got to fall, you know? And, where does he go from here? Like I was talking in one of my previous videos. Look, guys, how many times are you think this guy's going to unify all four belts? Fantasizing, get Superman out of your head. Just get him out of your head for a second. Fantasizing aside, do you really believe that the powers that be are going to sign up just to let this Japanese guy become the first three division world champion? You got to understand, and in this business, not everybody's happy he's doing this. Not everybody's happy. He's taken down a lot of legends. And he's for God's sake, he's rocking their records as of right now. So do you think that everybody's gonna be, oh yeah, Naoya, you want another title shot? You got it. It's not gonna be like that. Everybody knows who he is now. And not all the champions are going to be reluctant to sign up and say, hey, let me be the next person to get knocked out on national TV in front of my entire family and let them make memes about me. Not everybody's willing to sign up for that. And that's what's coming. It's a possibility. This guy is no joke. Do you really think that they're going to say, you know what? Yeah, man, we're just going to keep, allowing Naoya Inoue to break records. Yeah, he could break records. I don't think so. I don't think so. The cat's out of the bag. And when he moves up to the 126 and the 130, they're going to be champions up there that are going to avoid him. You're not going to get these guys to sign up on the dotted line just to fight this guy. He's not going to, I don't think the powers that be just not going to do it. Not unless somebody up there unifies all the belts, unifies all the belts and stuff like that. And I don't know, for one crazy reason, he freaking wants to fight this Japanese superstar for the money, and he doesn't care about getting knocked out in front of a world stage. And then the powers that be sign off on it, because you also need the sanctioning bodies to be on board, Like, okay, you already see what trajectory and where they're headed with the next fight. And this fight hasn't even finished. We haven't even got in the ring. And Marlon Tapales already fought for a title eliminator under the WBA banner. He just beat Kevin, right? So, and you seen that little medal they put on his neck? That's for a reason. That's a title eliminator under their banner. So the winner out of Tapales and Inoue is gonna fight MJ. Yeah. So they already got the storyline set up. So I believe that the storyline is going to be this. If you read between the lines, this is what I think. It hasn't happened, but the Japanese superstar is going to knock out Tapales or beat him, whichever way it goes. I don't see it going 12, but whichever he's going to, I have the Japanese superstar winning. He's going to win. He's going to fight MJ. He destroys MJ and successfully has one title defense on all four belts. Now he can vacate those belts and he can start heading up to the 126. Now, who's at the 126 by the time he gets up there? Because we know always in boxing, champions and belts are always changing hands. People are moving up weight divisions, coming down, whatever. You know what I mean? But pieces are always moving in boxing. You know, at one time I thought Woods would be still at the 126 and he would welcome a fight with the Japanese superstar at 126, Lee Woods, right? But that's not going to happen, you know. And then I thought Foster would have been another one. Look what happened there. So, like I said, you know, to predict that far ahead, I don't know who the hell's going to be there, but I do know one thing, that the most interesting fight is still on the table, and that's Tank Davis, baby. That's Tank Davis. You know, Tank Davis would be enticed to go down. Now that would be an awesome fight. You know why? In so many ways. Because look, let me tell you something right now, right? Let's talk. Let's finally get this out of the way right now. Right here and right now. While I got you guys right here. Let's get this out the way. When Naoya Inoue came into that first fight against Donaire, why is it after that fight they said Donaire was washed up, he was past his prime, right? They said he was washed up, he was past his prime, he was no near the Donaire wrecking force flash he once was, right? He was 35 years old when he fought the Japanese superstar. He was 36, going on 37 when he fought him the second time, or 40. It was 3 years later. I think he was more on the 40. He was like a 40, 39, 40 years old the second time they fought. But the first time they fought, he was 35 years old, 36, somewhere around there, right? Okay, this is my point. Why is it that Terrence Crawford is 35 years old and he beat the shit out of Errol Spence Jr., but he wasn't old? Why is it when Floyd Mayweather at 35 beat Canelo Alvarez at 23, but he wasn't old? Right? But all of a sudden, the Japanese superstar beats the Flash at 35. Oh, he's past his prime. He's past his prime. But Floyd Mayweather beat the crap out of Canelo Alvarez at 35 years old, and he looked impressive doing it, didn't have no problem, right? The fact of the matter is, Flash, Donaire, he lost the fight. He was in the best shape of his life. He looked great. Tell me, when you look at that fight, you can look at the Flash and say, well, yeah, he lost a step. At what point in that fight can you say he lost a step? He looked great. He looked great. But when the Japanese superstar beats him, guess what? Oh, he's old. He's past his prime. No good. Terrence Crawford can do it. Oh, he still got mad fights ahead of him. They're already talking like he can move up to fight Canelo Alvarez for 4 more belts. And if you let them talk it up, you know, but Terrence Crawford can be 35 going on 36, and he's a spring chicken. But the Flash, oh no, he's got a walker. He was in the old folks' home. Matter of fact, he was on the couch a week ago. You know, they'll make up anything. No, that's not the truth. The truth is that was an awesome fight. It was a great fight. It was a great learning experience for the young Japanese superstar that was up and coming, and he beat which I believe is one of the best versions of Donito Donaire up to that present time, because it's like fine wine. You know, he ages very well. And in his young career, when he was more aggressive, the Flash, when he was more aggressive, right? What he what he gained throughout his career was experience. And experience you cannot buy. That man that came into that fight against the Japanese superstar was a very, very experienced, high level, Hall of Fame fighter. And they don't want to give him his credit. Then they try to say that was a blueprint. He destroyed him in the next one. But you know what they said in the next one? He was even older this time. Actually, Donito Donaire was actually dead. When he got into the ring, he was actually dead, as old as he was. And you know what I mean? That's how old they made him. He was literally dead. They're going to say everything they can. But truth be told, this Japanese superstar is one of the most impressive fighters I have seen in recent days. And I'm not just saying that. And it would take a lot for me to just, tilt my hat to something, because I would have to be honest in my assessment. I also root for the American team, and I love my American fighters. And for me to be sitting here and giving praises to a Japanese fighter is because it is the truth. It is the damn right truth. My eyes don't deceive me. And I know I'm getting up there in age, but I'm telling you, I can still see, and I know what I'm seeing. And the impressive thing is that, uniquely enough, when he starts to dismantle his opponents, sometimes it kind of looks like the similar ass whooping. But trust me when I tell you, he does not fight every man the same at all. Some men he notices right away. They have a flaw in their technique, and he'll pressure the body. And he'll. There's been several men that it was just a full-fledged body onslaught attack. He saw something in there. Payano was a lefty that was a world champion. For God's sake, he shifted one way wrong. He went this way. He when he should have never stepped that way like that. And the great look, the way I want to explain this to you is like this. Good fighters will figure out an opponent between five and 8 rounds. A good fighter will figure his guy out between 5 and 8 rounds. He's got him figured out. That's a good fighter, right? A great fighter will have his opponent figured out between 3 and 5 rounds. 3 and 5 rounds, he's got him figured out. That's a great fighter right there. An elite fighter can figure his opponent out in the round, in the moment. That's an elite fighter. That's the difference between good fighters, great fighters, and elite fighters. That he's the type of fighter, if you make a mistake right there in front of him, you can't get away with that same mistake twice in the same round. It's not going to take him 2 or 3 rounds to go back to his corner and go, oh, he's dropping his left. No, not with this guy. You fuck around and make two suspect left turns, you are no longer the driver of this car. All right? Right? On that type shit. You can't do that. You're not going to be able to do it. And then what a lot of Tapales' fight fans criticize the Japanese superstar for right now is being the fact that he gets hit with that overhand shot. That not once, not twice, not 3 times, but multiple fighters have caught him with that same punch. And that they talked about the Japanese superstar's defense, and that they seen a flaw in his defense. Where that at times when he's really got you hurt on an onslaught, you'll have an opportunity and he'll give you one. Now, that's where my concern came in. And I was thinking, on an eye test, I'm viewing it and I'm saying to myself, he knows he's going to get hit. He's going in. I think he's just saying, you know what? I think I hit you hard enough with that last shot that I'm willing to go in and exchange with you at this point. I can't speak for him. I don't know actually what he's thinking, but that's what the fuck it looks like. That's what it looks like, right? And then at some point, I saw that with subtle movements to either your right or your left, you can catch Naoya with those shots. with a little subtle movements, just shift a little, So a lot of the time that he was hit was in those kind of transactions. And I was wondering because it was an interesting moment in the Paul Butler fight, right? Paul Butler wasn't opening up. He was shelling up all night. He was shelling up, shelling up, shelling up, right? And then the Japanese superstar just got in the middle of the ring. Remember when he did this? He was like, "Yo, come on, let's go," right? And then I believe it was either that round or the next round. Paul Butler scored a couple good shots on him, right? And then everybody was like, "Oh, look, he's susceptible. He can be hit." Blah blah blah. And then the commentator said, "No, I don't think that's what happened. I think he allowed Paul Butler to hit him to give him confidence to open up because he was shelling up so much, that he wanted to give him an opportunity." So I was like, yeah, I could see that happening. I could see that. I could see where that, the guys in front of them, they're just tight on their defense. They're just like, what the hell is coming? That shit hurt, right? And he's like, okay, I'm gonna let you hit me a little. Da dang, 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 right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get confidence, get some, and just lay them out, Um, so I could also see that happening because when I went back and I watched the fight over and over and I rewinded, I was just like earlier in the fight and after that round, they never hit him with that same shot again. They never hit him with the same shot they hit him in the fight with. If you hit him with that shot, that was the last time you were going to hit him with that shot. I also noticed that. Yeah. Show me one fight where that a fighter hit him with the same exact punch over and over and over in a night. Like he didn't learn from that. No, he gave it to you once and then try to do it again. That's what he wanted you to do. Do exactly what you just did. And he would put you out. So, look, I think that Marlon Tapales is a worthy opponent. I think that Marlon Tapales has earned the right to fight the Japanese superstar. I believe, damn it, if you're a champion, then you're a champion. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care if I made it to being a champion and I wanted to prove myself and I was daring to be great and they were saying that that guy right there was the best fighter in the world and I felt in my heart of hearts I was equal, damn it if you're not going to have to show me. I'm from the town, you're going to have to show me, So the Marlon Tapales is not looking at this like he's going to lose. He's not looking at this like he's saying to himself, you know what, I'm just being led to slaughter. No, Marlon Tapales is looking at this like, I'm about to be the motherfucking undisputed world champion. That's how he's looking at this. He's coming into this fight with all the intentions of walking out of that ring on that night with all those belts. You better believe it. It's superior mindset at this level. For God's sake, sometimes I find it comical when people are saying to other people, this guy is scared of this guy. I'm like, really? What they do for a living is fight. You do know that, right? Anybody that fights for a living is not scared of anybody. You should be in a different business if you're gonna be scared of somebody. You might think that his style might give you problems. You might think that his power may cause you problem or he could have a possibility, but scared of another guy, then you're in the wrong profession if any boxer is scared. I don't believe any boxer is scared. I think some boxers are stupid sometimes for taking some fights, you know. Um, I think that Ryan Garcia is in that category when he took on Tank Davis with them fighting skills like that. He was looking almost amateurish against Tank Davis. I think that was a stupid fight. He should wait until he's starting to develop into the fighter that he is now, and he still has a lot of work to go. That's when a fighter is drinking more of their Kool-Aid and they're going by what they're hearing rather than what they're putting into their training and preparation. Let me read some of these things. They just popping off here. What's up, Snake? You dropping them, huh? Okay. Well, all right. Well, you have a lot to type there. I had to 1180. Is that you? What the hell? I think Lou, my damn screen. I still got that same problem. It's like this, right? But I'm gonna be getting a new laptop. Don't worry about that. I'll fix all that stuff. So it's a little bit wiggly for me. But to answer some of your questions here, you had a lot to say here. Well, okay. Look, look. When a fighter, that's what determines most fighter, right? A lot of people might say, is this fighter? You ever hear the expression, "Are you built like that?" Are you built like that? Right? Okay. Not every fighter is built like that. There are fighters, there are boxers, right? And they are straight gladiators. There are men that are put on this planet that can take a punch. And a lot of Mexican fighters have that MO where that they were built to take and endure, it seems like anyway, for the most part, a lot of them can take an ass whooping, right? Okay. Now, that is something you can't train. You don't teach that in a gym. You don't take your fighter and beat him up, right? And then say, let me see if you got grit, kid. You know, it's not something that you're going over in preparation. Your fighter can look good, can hit good a certain way, and you're training for years and years and years until you, as a coach, finally get that fight that brings that kind of fight out of your fighter. And then now you actually see what he's made of. That's the only way you're going to find that out. And it's not lucky if the Japanese superstar weathered the storm or if he was tough enough. No, he was built like that. He's built like that. If you can break a man's orbital bone in the second round and you got 10 more rounds to go, and the guy in front of you, he's trying to do, guess what? Punch you in that eye, in that same eye. And throughout the fight, he caught the Japanese superstar several times in that eye, then went on to breaking his nose, right? Staggering the guy, right? The Japanese was in some trouble in that fight, okay? The kind of perseverance and what he did in that ring, his father Shingo could not have told you that he had seen that, because that's the first time he had handled adversity such as that. So a cut? Broken orderable? No, that's the first time his father ever witnessed his son going through that. That was a first for both of them. And they were going through that in the corner and everything together. And that you cannot teach. That you're going to have to find that out when the time is right. Because some men would have been like, bam, oh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm good. Throw in the towel. We got to go to the hospital, bro. This feels broken. It ain't worth it. How bad do you want it? You're not going to know that until your fighter's in that moment. That's my opinion on that. How is going to win between the Japanese superstar and the tank? Who's going to win? Okay, Ron was well. You make very good videos. I will always support your channel. Thank you, Prince. Look at yeah, okay. Yeah. You see? Well, I guess, there's a lot of people that how do you pronounce that? Duck? Duck? What up, Duck? Yo, I don't see a lot of people talking about Tapales being a 2 division champion. He holds 3 divisions already. Well, okay. If he's been in 3 divisions, right? The only way that they count the divisions if he won a world title in each division. You can be in 4 divisions, but you could have only won a world title in 2 of them. So you're only a 2 division world champion. You see? So if you win a small belt in one of the other divisions, which is like, an interim title or what interim titles, and nowadays they're being credited like champions because I tell you what, if you got an interim belt, you paying champion sanctioning fees. So if you're paying champion sanctioning fees to an interim title, the same amount you would pay to a regular champ, the super champion, then damn it, I'm a champion, right? But we all know you gotta, unify. You gotta get the super one. We know that to be true, right? But if you do not get a major title in that third weight division, then you're not a 3 division world champion. And if they're calling him a 2 division world champion, it's because they're only acknowledging 2 of his belts. And that's where a lot of things get confusing in the sport of boxing because you see the belts on the guy and you automatically assume, yeah, he's the champion. No, Tank Davis is not the champion at 135 pounds. He's soon going to be, but he wasn't. He was the regular WBA champion. Devin Haney was the super WBA 135-pound champion once upon a time. So that's how that works. Because Tank Davis can never say, yeah, I'm the real 135-pound champion. You never heard him come out and say that because Devin Haney would have been like, excuse me, and that's how that would have went. So that's how that goes. They will give Tapales his credit, but you're going to have to get a super belt in whatever division you're coming up and down in, however you're going to do it. Hey, Hollywood. Jay Hollywood, what's up? Bro, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, Tapales is a lighter mountain weight WBO champion. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I can look that up. I think you're right. Tapales one time, what happened was, right, yeah, and I believe that this might be the title you might be talking about. Okay. If my memory serves me correctly, he lost his belt on the scale. He missed weight. Yeah, and as a black eye to the sport of being a champion and being the most professional, I'm not sure if they acknowledge him as security. But if you win it, you win it, right? Or was it a vacated world championship that they were fighting for? Was it a vacate? So if he missed weight and it was a vacate title and he won, the other guy doesn't get the belt, but he also doesn't become the champion technically. So I'm not sure how that played out, but that was a scenario. I'm not saying that scenario played out, right? I just broke down a scenario, but there was a time in Tapales' career that he did miss weight and he was stripped of a title. Now that's interesting enough. I can go look that up, and I would like to see what exactly happened back then. If anybody knows, you share it with me. I would like to know. Okay, in my opinion, what more does the Japanese superstar have to do to become the greatest of all time in his career, undefeated on a high note? Besides that, he has a little bit of work in between, and I'm going to tell you what he'll have to do. Unfortunately, this is how it's going to have to go. The smaller man is going to have to do double the work. Yep. Until he gets to a point where that his body of work will finally speak volumes. They're going to put him in a situation where he's going to have to work so hard, but in the end, it's going to pay off because he's going to sit among the legends in the game. And every legend, respectfully, you have your own opinion of who you believe is your best fighter. It's truly up to the person or the viewer. What do you like? Do you like a more skilled fighter? Do you like a brawler? Are you the kind of fight fan that likes to see a guy that can show grit and take those and he's a comeback fighter? What kind of fighter do you love? Are you all about the sweet science and what boxing is truly based on? Boxing's number one fundamental rule is to be hit without being hit, period. And who's done it the best? Who's been hit the fewest that has achieved the more and has gained title and championship after championship? Who has done that the best? That's the best fighter in the world. That is the best fighter in the world. This Japanese superstar, if you go look at the tail of the tape on round by round basis, I'm talking about round by round basis, in every round he has ever been into in his entire career, all the way into present date in time, they're saying he might have lost 7 rounds out of 25 fights. Who's getting hit the fewest? Who? For Jesus Christ, you're not even winning rounds against them. When it's all said and done, when it's all said and done, he's going to put together a pretty impressive resume. Okay. And what it's basically going to come down to is that people are also going to always keep Muhammad Ali at the top because they're going to look at his size. They're going to determine his size. You can speak of a fighter, right? And you can say, man, this guy he got all 4 belts in one division. He got all 4 belts in the second division. He knocked out 80%, 90% of the people he fought. He's a monster. Man, how big is this guy? 118? Man, you see how it sounds? You see how it sounds? As soon as you say 118, 122, 115, they're going to be like, man, I haven't weighed 118 since I was like 12 years old. Like, how small are these guys? Well, nah, he can't be the best fighter in the world. They're too little. And that's where the people get turned off at when they're viewing these gigantic men. Like, you go and you meet Tyson Fury, and you're like looking up at him like, holy shit. And then you meet Naoya Inoue, and you're looking down at him like, oh, hey, man, you're the best fighter in the world. You know? And that's why the smaller man will always have to work twice as hard in the sport of boxing, where it's mostly dominated by giants and glamour divisions. He's truly, truly, you guys, I'm trying to tell you, I speak highly of this guy because what he's doing is off the charts, man. It is truly off the charts, bro. He's on some Jordan shit. Who the hell was before Jordan got on it? Where were the Bulls? Where were they? You know, until Jordan came and put eyes on Chicago. You know, and that's exactly what he's doing. Who were people that were boxing at the 112, 115, 108 divisions? I don't know. And then all of a sudden, pow, 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 pow. Wait a minute, what the hell's going on over here? Everybody's getting fucked up coming that direction. Look like a storm coming from over there. And this little Japanese, when the smoke clears, all you see is this little Japanese dude. You're like, man, and that's exactly what every fighter did coming up against him. They all looked at him. They couldn't take him serious. Bro, tell me that Japanese dude don't look like he's in some Japanese boy band and he gonna drop a couple tracks for you. You know what I'm saying? You know, he don't look like he's like he's about that, like that, right? But he is. He truly is. And okay. No, I thought I lost you there. Yeah, he is. He has. That's why I talked about it. He had like one of the best disguises in all of boxing. You know, he just didn't look the. He didn't look the part. He doesn't look the part. It's like a Brady. He's all shucks. I won another Super Bowl. All shucks. He doesn't look like a jock. These jocks are out there. They got their chest out. They're ripped. And here comes this, pudgy being our scrawny dude. Hey guys, give me the ball. Touchdown, 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 you know what I mean? On that type shit. And then they found out who Brady was. They were like, man, that's Brady. He's a killer. Don't let that corny smile fool you. Wake up, play defense. Like, now the cat's out of the bag. They're like, look at Naoya Inoue. They like, wake up. Hey, don't go by what he looks like. That's a killer right there. That's a killer. And that's why I'm saying, look, when it's all said and done, um, it's hard enough to unify all four belts. Now that's fucking hard. Okay. You unify all four belts. In fact, into present day, there's only been 9 men to unify all four belts. Okay. Right. Now, out of the 9 men, only a certain amount of them have, I forgot what the number was. I apologize. Only a certain amount of them has defended them. The other half has not defended them. And when you get an opportunity like that, sometimes it's not real, like the Japanese superstar did the first time he did it. 1 month after he won that last belt off of Paul Butler, he vacated the titles. I'm moving up. Boom. Bernal Harpington, I'm not gonna really say Jermaine Taylor. I mean, he did one time, but it counts. It fucking counts, bro. All those men are gonna go down in history as men that defended all 4 belts. And once you defend all 4 belts, that's off the list. Yeah, that's another record right there. But if you don't defend all 4 titles, like Terrence Crawford, like, there's a few people that had all 4 belts. Josh Taylor, he didn't get an opportunity. Some of these guys end up getting stripped. Devin Haney defended all 4 belts. Devin Haney's name is in that category of having all 4 belts and successfully defending them. He's moved on now. That's beautiful, because the odds of the Japanese superstar, shall he win this? If he vacated, truth be told, I don't think he's ever gonna do this again. They're not gonna give him the opportunity, guys. For as much as that we would like to see it, for as much as we would be like, we know he can do it, bro. There's no question. If given the opportunity, do I believe he can do it in another weight division? You're fucking right. I'm inclined to say if you give him the opportunity, he can do it in 4. That's how strong I believe in this Japanese, and I'm not even talking shit. He might be. Who the hell is in 130 right now? Hector Luis Garcia is gonna stop the Japanese superstar? Yeah, right. That's not gonna happen, right? So that's why I'm saying, if given the opportunity, and they will all be like, yeah, title after title, I give him a shot at it. He could, but realistically speaking, and the way I know boxing is, and the ugly nature behind it, I'm here to tell you that not everybody's happy he's doing this. Because mind you, I repeat it, he's taking down a lot of legends with him. He's erasing a lot of men's names out of the history books. Bernal Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya, they're like this. And he can take one of Bernal Hopkins' records out the way. You think those kind of men, have they got their fighter with their hands on one of those belts, they're just going to be like, yeah, here, come on, trash my fighter, trash my record, and take over. Chain, what's up, Chain? $20. Thank you, brother. Thank you for. Wait. I got something for the donation, and I have this specially for you. Round 1. Yeah, baby. The fight starts at the beginning. Round 1. There we go. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for your donation. Should be 126 or 122. Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I'm in agree with you, Chang. There's nobody, I don't think, from the 122 to the 126. But like I said, boxing's evolving every year. You give it 18 months, and all of a sudden there's this bright new little star coming out, shiny, showing flares. And where the hell has he been? And boop, we got ourselves a fight. So we really don't know. I don't, we look, it would be stupid to put the kid Camille Moten against this guy so early. So I don't think he's gonna be the one. But there are a couple good young black African American kids right now that are real young that look really good. Now I'm gonna wait a minute. I'm gonna wait until the Japanese superstar starts rocking up in the 126, 130, because that's when that's the glamour division right there. And that's when he really, really, really gonna make some noise. Once he gets up into those higher where it's like 130, you're not going to be able to deny him. That's when he's going to be able to mix in right there with the legends, because the majority of the legends started at 130. The Floyds, the Pacquiaos, they were all there. And if they were in those divisions and you're counting those divisions, now we're talking. Now you could put them up against the legends, but not at 115, not at 118, not at 122. 122, iffy. Those weights are too small when you talk in the argument. You could bring up all the things he does, but as soon as you say the guy, you'll be at a bar. As soon as the guy says, "Man, this guy sounds tough. He sounds like he's not gonna fight." How big is he? What weight does he fight? Huh? He's a heavyweight, middleweight, cruiserweight. What is he? 112. Come on, man. He's gonna look at do you feel me? You see, so that's why I say he's working twice as hard. Once he gets up to the 130, and then once he gets up to the 130 and he secures a title there, okay, that's when we're gonna be talking. That's when if when and where, because we're gonna get there, because I truly believe he's gonna bring us with him. Okay. And I'm gonna be covering him, and I can't, you know, I can honestly say that when he gets to 130, that's where he will make his no moist noise. That's my opinion. That's what I believe. I believe in my hearts of hearts right now. He's already a mega superstar. I believe that he is the best fighter in the world. But will the world see it? Will the world embrace him? Will the world acknowledge him because of just merely his size? Will they try to deny him just because a smaller guy, which is not fair, right? Because fighting is fighting, boxing is boxing. And if you got skills, you got skills. But real hardcore fans and real fans like us and medium fans and a lot of casual fans, you know what I'm saying? We do know what we see, but there's always those guys that only been watching Terry Crawford all the time. And as soon as you say, "Hey, this Japanese guy is looking pretty good against this guy," and he busts out and goes, "How big is he?" And you go, that's the end of the conversation. That's the end of the conversation right there. So, you know, um, I think that by him successfully doing this, and then what they did the other night with MJ by putting him the WBA title eliminator fight, that they have this in preparation. They have this in preparation. And the one title that you always want to make sure you have, if you guys haven't noticed this already, there's one belt that the Japanese superstar, once he got it, he above all other belts, he will not let this belt go. There's only one belt that he talks about, and he says, out of all the belts, he has all four belts, but there's only one he will not let go. And that's the WBO. The WBO. It is the only belt that you can challenge the existing champion in the above division from you, and he has to take the fight. He automatically becomes your mandatory. So with the WBO, it guarantees you, if you shall, if you don't have to do it, but if you should choose to, um, that's the only belt that's going to guarantee you a fight in the next weight division. So as long as he maintains the WBO while moving up, and you see what happens to some fighters that move up, right? Terrence Crawford used the same method. He was the WBO champion at 140. He used the WBO rules to go up to 146. What's up, Spike? $20 donation. What's up, my man? How you doing? Jesse, here you ring the bell. Ah! One round one. Donation for you, my man. You even got my alter ego. Whenever I get too happy, I talk like if I got a Latin accent, but I am Puerto Rican. Yo soy Boricua. You know what I mean? So I got the right to do it, you know? But yeah, whatever. Round one. Yeah, I got excited there. Look at Roy Jones Jr., faster boxer of all time. Okay, yeah. Yes, this is boxing. Everything can happen. And the chance is saying 1% for tapales. 1% for tapales? Really? What's up, Jay, my man? Listen, yeah, guys. No, well, I give Chapales more than 1%. I give him a puncher's chance. I always give him a puncher's chance, you know. Anything can happen in a fight. I just don't think the Japanese superstar is about that life, about mistakes and giving his fighter too much opportunities. You know, I believe that when he's a shark, he's truly a shark. When he's going to engage, he already knows something. He has determined if he hits you with a punch and you wobble that much, it's like a drop in a pool of sharks. He's going to attack you. He's not going to let you off the hook. And that's my fear for Tapales, where that sometimes in fights, fighters like to stay to the game plan. For instance, Devin Haney against Regis Progress. He dropped him in the fight. He had him hurt several times in the fight, but he never went in to close the fight. Why should he? He's winning the fight, right? Sticking to the game plan and not allowing him to get an opportunity, you coming in trying to get him, you're giving him an opportunity of catching you with a hook, right? Or any kind of shot for that matter. Okay. Devin Haney stuck to the game plan, discipline, superior mindset, right? The Japanese superstar also has a superior mindset, and that is total destruction. If he has you hurt and you wobble a little bit, he's not going to play it safe. He's not. He will give you an opportunity if you can take what he got coming for you. He's that kind of fighter. He's not there. He's not going to play games with you. You know, and he's not going to give you the time to recover like Devin Haney gave to Regis Progress. I'm fear to say, every time he let him off the hook, it gave Regis Progress that much of an opportunity to try to come back in the fight and win the fight because he's still in front of you. And that's the difference between the Japanese superstar. He's not going to play with his food. He never plays with his food. He gets right to the point. And if he sees that, oh boy, it's over. It is over. Larry, what up? You want to know something? That's a real interesting point right there, Larry. You know, Inoue is headed to being one of the biggest stars in Asia since Manny Pacquiao. And I've heard that a lot coming into this fight right here. I've even seen the video on YouTube where it shows Manny Pacquiao wanting to train with the Japanese superstar and teach him, you know, and stuff like that. And I say this, right? Although Manny Pacquiao was a great and big global superstar in the Philippines, you know, and they're saying that the Japanese superstar is soon going to be a better fighter than him, and whether or not he is a better fighter, in fact, than Manny Pacquiao, that's never been a question in my mind. Although Manny Pacquiao is a great fighter and he has his own style, I believe that the Japanese superstar is already a more technical fighter and has always been a more technical fighter than Manny Pacquiao. You know, I like the Japanese superstar's style of fighting better than I liked Manny Pacquiao's style of fighting. As superstar status, that is individual because Manny Pacquiao was revered like almost like a king. His star status out there in Philippine was is it's not most many men in the world can match that. That is that is a status that most athletes will never ever achieve. What Manny Pacquiao achieved out there. The fact that the Japanese superstar is on that kind of trajectory, and you should see some of the crowds that they have in Japan for this man. He has already, he is already a star. He is already a star. And truth be told, he doesn't need more than that. But in this game, what Naoya Inoue is looking for is legendary status, um, from all the legends and the credibility from all the boxers. He wants to put his name in a situation where you can no longer deny him. Tom Brady didn't want to win 4 rings and say, I'm even with Joe Montana. He wasn't even comfortable winning 5 rings. No, he set himself so far apart that you can't even bring another guy in a conversation. You see? And that's what I believe he's going to do. He's on some Brady shit, that Japanese dude. I truly believe he's on it. And he's going to have to do it because we spoke about it. The smaller guy is going to have to do more. And I honestly believe that. And it's a shame. But at the same time, you keep pushing him to do more and he keeps doing more. When it's all said and done, all that more he did, you're going to be like, oh shit, you can't deny him, you know? So, um, yeah, I just don't think that Manny Pacquiao and him are the same fighter. I believe that their star status is very similar. I still think that Manny Pacquiao, Um, he might have been just a little bit bigger when they were actually saying that they wanted him to be the president of the Philippines. Like they were like willing to give a boxer like to govern them. Yeah, listen, he can throw a jab. He's the president. Never mind if he has political skills or if he knows how to run a country. That didn't matter. That's who we want. He was on that shit. He was on that kind of status. Believe me when I tell you he was. And he still got it. He walks outside of the Philippines, they'll mob him. They'll mob him. But there's a lot of fighters in the US and that have been great fighters that cannot do that. They can't. They cannot do that. Tell Stephen Kubo Fulton right now to stand out in front of Madison Square Garden right now and build a crowd like that. Right now. Just walk out into Madison. He'll be alone. There'll be like a crowd of 50 people, 40 people around him that probably know him. Hey, what's up? Let me get an autograph. But it's not something that impressive to us in United States. In New York City, you see actors, movie stars, rappers all day, every day walking around. And he's getting his coffee. Boom. TMZ's right there. Boom. It's nothing like, you know what I mean? And that's what I mean, that it's very hard to do that in the United States of America. And if he can take that kind of success over there and come over there, that's what they're all talking about, him being a global superstar in America, where that you cannot just walk outside. Canelo Alvarez is not just going to be able to walk outside, like that. Canelo Alvarez will get mobbed by a lot of fucking, and depending where he is in America, he will get mobbed by a lot of people. Tank Davis will go outside right now in New York City and he can pack it. They'll all of a sudden there's gonna be a couple few hundred people around him. Because of the global superstar that he is. But he's not gonna shut down New York. He's not going to Terrence Crawford is not going to shut down New York. Michael Jackson can shut down New York in his time. Michael Jackson can shut down 42nd Street, and I've seen it personally. Those are the kind of men I'm talking about. That kind of man. And that's what kind of star status celebrity that the Japanese superstar has over there. So look, in this fight, I believe that tapales has a lot to answer being the fact that the Japanese superstar fares well, very well against left-handed fighters. There have been no left-handed fighters that have past 3 rounds with him. Tapales has shown to be weak in the belly, in the stomach. MJ even surprised him in his very last fight. It was concerning for me that just a few months after the MJ fight, when he jumped into the ring, when Stephen Kubo Fulton and the Japanese superstar finished up their fight, Marlon Tapales' face was already round. He was already like this. So it already shows he was already enjoying the fruits of his labor. He wasn't in the gym. And that's kind of alarming. And then accepting a fight in December, 6 months later, I was like, wow, but you know, it's alarming, but he was still in shape technically. A few months, he'll jump back in the ring, he'll snap that weight off, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. But I like it when a fighter is constantly in the gym, because what a fighter doesn't understand, let me be honest with you, and if you're thinking about fighting and you're watching your fighter, I really want you to take this in consideration, because it seems to go over a lot of fighters' heads. Look, as a fighter, we're cocky, we're arrogant. And there was a point in my life where I was training and I felt like I could just beat anybody, right? And I just felt so strong. I just didn't feel like I would be able to lose, right? So what happens is, uh, for a variety of reasons, whether it's the lamplight, women, people throwing you money here or there, or whatever. So you go out and you say to yourself, screw the gym right now. I'm partying. I'll get back in the gym. Don't worry about it. Sooner or later, the weeks turn into months. Months turn into maybe almost a year. And you come back and you say, man, I missed the sport. Let me get in there. Schedule me a fight. And you took a year off. What happens to a fighter is, what a fighter never understands and truly will never understand, a lot of fighters, some fighters, young fighters understand this because it's passed down through their coaches and it's instilled to them not to do this fatal mistake. That your reaction time and the level of fighting doesn't stop. Meaning, right, your reaction when you were at the top peak of your form was right there. You take a year off, it's not going to be the same. You're going to think it is, but it's not going to. Then what's going to happen is your competition never took time off. So all the time you took off, your competition was in the gym training every day. It's going to take you that amount of year to catch back up to him. You see? Even Kobe Bryant said it best in one of his interviews, the late Kobe Bryant. He said, the reason why I train this hard every day is because in 5 years, if you start training from this one, I got 5 years ahead of you. You're never going to catch up. You're never going to catch up because you took time off. You see? And that's how that works. But the athlete, what does the athlete think? Nah, dog, I got this. Man, I feel great. I can still jump, train. It's not the same. The reason why you can never go with all these TikTok little stupid videos on YouTube when they show, for instance, Tank Davis fighting against Devin Haney, right? I don't pay no attention to that. Sparring as a fighter, I can personally tell you that there is no way on God's green earth you can emulate fight night in sparring. It can't happen. And everybody seems to forget about that, right? You can't generate those nerves, the anxiety, the crowd, knowing your family's out there looking at you, the will of wanting to. When you go into a sparring match, you're not hyped like that. You're usually cold, putting on your gloves, gearing up, talking to your coach. You're going to spar against this guy from another gym. We don't know what he looks like. Let's take it easy, feel him out on that type shit. And then if you got two guys like Devin Haney and Tank Davis, let's just go until, wait a minute. Well, you still cannot emulate fight night. It is not the same. I know guys in the gym, they look like $1 million in the gym sparring. Woo! World champions. You put them out in front of those bright lights, bro, they're not the same man. They can't perform under the bright lights. Some people are like that. It's not the same. So that's why, you there are certain things in this sport you're not going to be able to emulate, and as an athlete you can't take time off. That's what I love about the Japanese superstar, that in between every fight, sometime I'll be looking them up and I'll be trying to find out as much as I can. He doesn't take time off. He's right back in there, whether it's his brother that got a fight coming up, his cousin that got a fight coming up. The family is always in the gym. Shingo got them boys like, man, like this. And it's beautiful to see. And also, a more deeper side to the fighting, watching a father and son go through this together, man, it's a very special, to me, watching them, because a lot of American fathers and sons, sometimes it doesn't end so well. Floyd Mayweather and his dad. There's been a countless, but there's been situations where it has worked. Devin Haney and his dad look like they're doing good, and I love to see that right there. There's nothing that would be better for me to come up and have my dad right there, man, right next to me while I was coming up, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I guess it couldn't be the other way, right? But I would like it to, that would be really special, and to keep that bond, and not to fight, and not let the world, and not let your egos collide. Who's doing it? Brady or Belichick? Who's doing it? And Naoya Inoue or Shingo? Is it the coach or is it the fighter? It's not about that with them. It's all about winning, love, and growing in the sport. And that's a beautiful thing, and I just wanted to touch on that right there. Um, it does require a wide level of discipline. London, what up? Ismail, what's up? Boxing, what up, baby? Yes, yes. That is the good thing about the elite ones and the great ones. When the brights were, um when the brights were the bright when the lights were the brightest, and the money was on the table, and everything was at stake, the great ones come through. The great ones come through. And that's where you start to see, and you can really write down. I mean, I can always have a favorite fighter, but if he never won the big fights, and he never won the fights that mattered, then he's just great and good to me. Because when it's all said and done, it's what you got. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to answer a question for you right now. If any of you out there, by any chance, went along with the narrative that belts don't matter, you know, um, I would like to see that when these guys are in the sport of boxing, they get a shitload of money, even if you can, because I don't know how you're going to get all these big money fights without belts. Because I believe that's how you get the big money fights. You get the belts, right? But some of these kids are coming up and they're trying to push this narrative. And I say it all the time. At the end of your career, the legends are going to ask you, where are your belts, young man? How many divisions do you have? What have you accomplished? Yeah, you made a lot of money, but at the end of the day, at, at the sport that you were in, the highest award, right? You never achieved, but yet you're claiming to be the baddest motherfucker in the sport, but you never held a belt? That's hard to believe. How can you be the baddest man in sport? So that's why I say those young men really need to think over what they're saying, because number one, they're putting down their own sport. They're saying that the belts don't mean shit in their own sport, which is crazy. You want us to pay you to watch you never get a belt? That's just stupid, right? Okay. So I can see where the tough talk to trying to lure another guy to make it seem like they don't want a belt. And then they say, hey, you want a shot of the belt? Yeah, 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 yeah. I want a shot of the belt. I want a shot of the belt. You know what I mean? Trying to be cool and shit. Say some slick shit. You know, oh, belts don't matter. Oh, yes, they do. Yes, they do. And if you don't got those, you're not walking in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, you're not walking in the Hall of Fame because the last time I checked, you know, you needed to achieve some shit in your sport to be considered a what? Hall of Famer. And if you don't make it in the Hall of Fame, you're just another boxer. That's unfortunate. The Ring Magazine is the most important belt, but what? Being undisputed is better. Hell, if you're undisputed, then you're already Ring Magazine champion. Well, okay. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna debate what you what you think or anything. The Ring Magazine, to you, it could be the most prestigious belt in all of boxing. The fact that every division does not have a Ring Magazine, then that doesn't. It's an opportunity thing. You know, there's how many Ring Magazines currently are there in the sport of boxing today? There isn't one in every weight division. So there's not a Ring Magazine in every weight division, then I can't consider it the most prestigious belt out of all the belts. If they're only putting it in certain divisions where you can achieve it, right? Then it's supposed to be the number one guy and the number two guy fighting. And the award is supposed to be that the baddest fought the baddest. That was a way of getting the best to fight the best. Ring Magazine belt. You see, linear belt. You see, like that. The Ring Magazine belt, when a fighter holds it, you can win money and you can be paid from the Ring Magazine for honoring their belt and promoting their belt. The one good thing about the Ring Magazine, you don't pay any sanctioning fees to the Ring Magazine. It isn't backed by anything. It isn't backed by a major sanctioning body. It is a belt that was basically the people's champion. We, the people and the fans, make the Ring Magazine prestigious. And it is, right? When boxing was coming into an ugly time where the white guy didn't want to fight the brother, right? And one champion was ducking another one. And we wanted to honor the number one guy. We knew the only reason why you're not the champion is because this guy is scared of you. He's not fighting you. He's ducking you. So here, take the Ringside Magazine, wear it proudly because we, the people, view you as our champion. And that's the Ringside Magazine. Throughout the years, it's fluctuated in popularity. They've taken it, given it to the most popular fighter, sometime less deserving than another. And it's kind of, gone up and down. Fighters like Devin Haney has the Ring Magazine. The Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue has the Ring Magazine. If you didn't know that, he has it, right? Well, he had it at the 118, right? He had it at the 118. He doesn't have it now at the 122. You know, um, so you know, it is prestigious in its own right. But as far as because a lot of people like it because of the colors, the red, white, and blue, and because of a famous Rocky movie. They saw it in the Rocky movie and the Ring Magazine belt blew up. All right. And they were like, that's the belt right there. But in the sport, the Ring Magazine is the equivalent of the MVP trophy in the NBA. That's exactly what it is. You got the belts, you got the trophy in the NBA, And then you know how you got them other like smaller trophies? The Ring Magazine is the MVP of boxing. That's the best way I could describe it for you. That's what that belt is. That's exactly what it is. And then you got the four major sanctioning bodies, and then you have the IBO, which is making some headwaves. There have been a lot of champions. Stephen Kubo Fulton on the IBO. Usyk on the IBO. Joshua on the IBO. A lot of champions have owned the IBO. But yeah. Uh hmm. hmm. What's up, Prince? Um, Ismail, the Royal. Well, you see that you see that still comes down to a matter of opinion. You see, it still comes down to a matter of opinion because there has been boxers in history that have not taken the Ringside Magazine belt. They didn't accept it because at one point in time, let's remember that Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer, bought Ringside Magazine. So you had a former boxer promoter, which has all the right to do it. It's a business move. He bought the Ringside Magazine. So the Mexicans were all mysteriously at one point in time getting Ring Magazine belts like it was going out of style. And there was a lot of other boxers that were like, man, and it kind of like fluctuated. So if you ask another boxer, some boxers might say, no, we do not honor it. If you ask another boxer, they might say, that is the best belt in all of boxing, the Ring Magazine, and the literal. Which the literal is better, actually, in the debating world, bigger than the Ring Magazine. Yes. Yes, it is. So you got to fight with them over that first. If you want to even get the Ring Magazine past the literal belt. Okay. Because according to those two, the literal is leading the way. Okay. And that's not my rule. That's not how I feel. That's how the majority of the boxing public feels on boxing records, or when you look up the belts as they're listed, that is higher than the Ring Magazine. In fact, I just remembered that. So, but because of the amount of champions that held that belt, like Larry Holmes, the Literal belt, the guys that helped it, is what made it prestige. And if we're actually going looking at it and that aspect, truth be told, every one of these belt only got their recognition by the champions that once held it. That's it. The men and women that held those titles, the men and women that held those titles is what made those belts prestigious. That's it. There were many, 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 many champions that had the WBO, that belt right there, way before the rest of the major sanctioning bodies acknowledged it as a world title. There have been many men in history that are going down of having the IBO and not really getting credit as being a unified world champion. They had two belts, the WBC and the IBO, and they're only counting them as only having, in that point in time, only one belt, the WBC, because at the time, the WBO was not recognized as a world champion. It did not get recognized as a world championship until 2007. You see? And that's how that goes. It's where the major say, and there was a point in time and there has been fights in history um that the sanctioning bodies did not schedule the fight because you were fighting for the IBO. The WBC, the IBF, and the WBA, all, in fact, as I think about it, all have stripped their fighter of their belt because they won the WBO at one point in time. Yes, they have. And that's history. You can look that up. They don't lie about it, because at that point, the major sanctioning bodies, in order to keep their belts prestigious, they didn't want their belt with the IBO. You don't put that belt next to my belt and show it in the same ring, because you got to keep your belt prestigious. So they didn't have no respect for the WBO at the time. When fighters started like winning it and putting it next to their belts, and they saw that the WBO was here to stay, and that they had their shit together, and they were ready to be a major player in boxing, and I don't know what they did behind the scene or who they had to kill, but they got it done finally, you know and then the WBO became official, and it is now recognized as one of the four major sanctioning bodies of our beloved sport today. What up, Larry? You got a lot to type here. Let me hear what you got to say here. Triple G was the last IBO as well. He wasn't the last IBO to ever have an IBO, Triple G, because Stephen Kubo Fulton just had a IBO. And just before, he had the IBO and the WBC, and then he went and fought for the WBO against Brandon Figueroa, and then he let the IBO go. So, great champion. He was the last IBO great champion. Well, there's a lot of champions to come. So, you know, um, serious question. Do you or anyone in the chat think that there will be a time where the IBO will be recognized as a major title? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Look, just like they didn't think it was ever going to span from one belt, eventually it spanned into two belts. Then everybody was like, that's crazy. Two belts? That's too many belts. Then it spanned into three belts. Then they were like, now that's crazy. But it looked good around the fighter, didn't it? And they were like, oh, three belts, that's it. No more belts. And the WBO, year after year after year after year, the WBO was out for more than 10 years. More than 10 years as an organization. And they didn't get no recognition, right? Not until 2007, when Bernal Harpington and Oscar De La Hoya fought to unify all four belts, that the event was so big that they had to give credibility to all the participants. And that was the agreement. Like the WBO had enough. They were like, yo, that's our belt right there, And it was acknowledged. The IBO pretty soon, give it a few more years, it's going to even look better. Not four belts, but five. And you know where they're going to use it to justify it? You want to know where they're going to use that to justify it? Exactly what you just said. Your ringside magazine that's not being counted, that should be counted, guess who's going to take its place? Your lineal belt that you want it to be, guess who's going to take its place? And it's going to be five. If you can put four belts, the ringside magazine and the lineal in the middle of the ring of the guy, what's stopping them from taking away the ringside magazine and putting in an actual belt on you with a major sanctioning body that's going to be another player? More money, more money, more money. Can you say more money? Yeah, it will be in due time. Just like every sport evolves. Look at the NBA. What happened in the NBA now? They got this little miniature championship within the season for money to keep viewers. Did you ever see that coming in the NBA? Or did you just think it was going to be one title? Right? Sports evolve all the time. And that belt eventually will become a major player. They have to give their time. They got to do their just dues. They're going to have to kill who they have to kill, to get in the sport, but they soon will be making their way. And that's why when I got my belts, I decided to get the IBO, because I support boxing and everything about it, So I'm going to start to give them recognition too. help him along because more money, more money, more money, bigger fights, bigger fights, bigger fights, you know. Um, dude, what's up? I agree. Belts market and boxing champions versus champions has a better ring selling fights. Yes, it does. And you got a guy coming in with 3 belts. You got a guy with 2 belts, and then you put the ring belts. He got 3. All of a sudden, the announcer starts saying 6 belts. Oh, 6, man. Honey, tonight the fight for 6 belts. Put it on. Yeah, it's marketing. It's marketing, and we're soon gonna get there. We're soon gonna get there. Um, I believe that the Japanese superstar he's in a very interesting spot right now. And I talked about this. Do I believe he's gonna go up and do it in a third-weight division? No, 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 I don't. No, I don't. And not because he can't do it. Hear me out on that. Not because he can't do it. Oh, he can do it. He can do it with his skills. I told you he could probably do 4. I don't think you're going to get the champions to sign up. I don't think these guys are going to be so reluctant to being like, yeah, I want to fight him next. Yeah, he doesn't. No, and they know who that man is now, and a lot of people are going to start shying away. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Look, at that weight, you can stand to make a few $1,000,000, but if you don't fight him in 2 fights, you're going to make the same amount of money and you can be champion a lot longer. And you could keep your belt and you could run. Take your tail, put it between your legs, and paint a yellow line behind your back and run that way because they're not going to fight the Japanese superstar. That's what I mean. It's not that, he doesn't have the skill to do it. Yeah, fucking right. I believe he does. I just don't see these guys wanting to fight him. I don't. And then everybody else that's going to want to fight him, that's going to call out his name, is not going to have a belt. It's not going to have a belt. People like Luis Narvaez, right? Come on, that's a joke. That's a joke. The other day, I was actually talking with this guy, and this guy actually sat there and told me that Luis would give the Japanese superstar one of the best fights. And I was like, are you crazy? If that guy even starts one round with those wild hooks like he throws, if he thinks he's going to land one of those power punches on this Japanese guy, as soon as he throws that hook, the Japanese dude might as well just run up, jump up on top of the ring and start going like this, because the next image you're going to see is Lewis going down like this. Yo, it's going to be quick, and he's going to be on the ropes like that. And it's going to be over. Because I don't even think that Luis Nare's kid is not even nowhere near his level. So, people are just going to say things. They're just going to be like, Casimero. I was thinking about this the other day. I was saying to myself, he should fight Casimero just to prove all the doubters wrong. Everybody that ever said that Casimero was going to be the one to beat this dude, I would like just him to turn around and fuck him up and just show him that he's not on his level. He looks like that against those guys because those guys are allowing him to do what Casimero wants to get off. And I'm trying to tell the people that that's not going to happen against this Japanese dude, because that Japanese dude is not going to allow him to do that. And he looks good against those when they're that fast, them. But this dude ain't like that, man. And I'm trying to tell him. I don't know. Do any of y'all believe? Any of y'all think the same way I think? Do you really think that Luis Narvaez has a chance of being this Japanese dude? Luis Narvaez is a hell of a fighter. Had a fight of the year this year against Yana, but I think it's an entirely interesting fight. But I agree, Naoya beats him. Look, don't be confused when you hear those awards. Fighter of the year, fight of the year, things like that. They slightly changed the name from fighter of the year to fighter of the year to fight of the year. and things like that. Now, some of these awards are given to some fighters when the fight was so evenly matched that the matchmakers made the perfect fight. You had the perfect dancing partner, and it made the fight that explosive. But if you put that man in with a man highly skilled like the Japanese fighter, that fight is not going to look like that. It's going to look like a one-sided event. You see? When I saw Turo Gotti fight Mickey Ward, those kind of fights when Mickey Ward those were legendary fights. Those are Hall of Fame classic fights when the two men were even. Their speed level, their punch level, their ability to take each other's shots were even. And it made it for an explosive matchup. And the matchmakers got that fight right. And they gave you an exciting fight. But those same men can be put in a different kind of fight, and they're not going to pull off that kind of performance, fight of the year candidate anymore. It's not going to happen, you know? So that's why I just, when you hear things like that and you see these awards were given out, yeah, he got fight of the year or fight of the year. Yeah, yeah, you can get that award. And you can get that award for spilling a lot of blood and for those kind of knockdown, bag out, drag out fights where they're both getting punched in the face. You know, one of my subscribers told me that Mike Perry was one of the best fighters in the world, and I was like, what? Mike Perry? And he was like, yeah, Mike Perry, the bare knuckle fighter. None of these guys can fight against him. And I was just like, all right. Some guys, though, the reason why Mike Perry's so successful, when I started to think about it, that dude can take an ass whooping. That dude is fucking tough. That's bare knuckles on your face. He's the toughest at where it comes to bare knuckles. Because, some guys, some fighters are like that. But when you think about it, and a fighter like me with my IQ, I'm like, you mean to tell me you want me to award a guy because he's a human punching bag? Because his face looks like this at the end of the fight? That's not my impression of a fighter. My impression of a fighter looks the same way he he walked in the ring when he walks out. When Devin Haney came out of that ring with Regis Progress, did he look like he was in a fight? Nope. You know why? Because he was dominant performance. He didn't touch his face. That's my kind of fighter right there. Not the guy that looks like this, that his teeth are coming out. Yeah, I was tougher than you. Yeah, I was able to take your punches. Bro, at the end of your career, good luck to you. All that damage you take, there are some men that are tough. And don't get me wrong, by definition of how tough or what that moment made you feel like inside, or watching him come back in the fight and perhaps even winning the fight, and the thrill and the fire that it lit inside of you, and that, everybody wants to come back when the time is the toughest and the situation is the hardest. We love that comeback story, and I get it. And then I calm down for a second, and I not become a prisoner of the moment, and I realize this is a sport of skill, not from being punched in your face. You got to do the punching. Boxing, it is worded like this: you are here to assist me on whooping your ass. You are here to assist me on whooping your ass. That is it. That's how I'm going into the fight. I throw a punch here, you move here, I hit you here. I throw here, you go here. That's how the dance is supposed to go. I'm supposed to control the dance, lead the dance, evade your punches, and give you the ass whooping I trained to give you. And then I'm going home. Good night. That's boxing. You know what I'm saying? In a nutshell. You know? Mike Perry puts on a show every single motherfucking time. You're goddamn right. That guy is exciting. He is exciting. But, you know, I wouldn't say that he's your traditional best fighter in the world. You know, I would say that the level of competition that he's fighting in front of and him taking care of business, top notch. Top notch. His fucking toughness and durability is off the charts, bro. His willingness to stand there and mixing it up with another guy, that shit is fucking like up there, bro. I don't know too many people that enjoy getting their nose broken and their eyes split and they're fighting. They're talking at the every interview like this. You had a great time tonight. Hold on, let me spit out this tooth. Yeah, and the next guy, that's a meat grinder of a sport. Bare knuckle fighting. Life expectancy of you being the champion, 4 fights, maybe 5 fights. You're not going to go a 10-year career in bare knuckle matches. I tell you that much, but did they get the right man for the job? You're fucking right they did. That dude is exciting as fuck. Oh, hell. Mike Perry, I give him respect, bro. In his craft, in the bare knuckles, he's the fucking champion. He's the fucking man. That's his world. You know what I mean? But, if we were, there's professional level for a reason. Just like high school football player is not going to beat a guy in the NFL. That's why you got the pros and you got the amateurs, but there are amateur athletes in their game. They're fucking shining. And that's what's going on right there with Mike Perry. In his situation, at his level, he is the fucking best there. Yes, he is. Yes, he is the best. He is the champion, and he's one tough dude, But as far as like he's the guy, my viewer and everything. I started because I know him. I started talking, and he's like, no, he's just the best outright. I'm like, no, we can't give him that title, but we will give him the toughest man title. We'll give him that one. I'm not gonna go as crazy as saying, yeah, he's better than Terrence Crawford. Hell yeah. No, I'm not gonna go there and do that. I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, look, um, let me know if you guys have anything else to do. What you see, what you think in this fight. Um, when the Japanese superstar, is there any possibility that any of you out there see an upset? Any of you, anyone out there that thinks, this is a 50-50 fight? Where do you see it? Do you see it a 50-50 fight? Do you see it a 60-40 fight? Do you see it a 70-30 fight? Like I called the Stephen Kubo Fulton fight. I said that was a 70-30 fight. And it was. He didn't win a single round. What else would that was that? How else would you score that? Yeah, and I didn't. I'm not going to sit here and say I saw the Japanese fighter winning every single round, but I saw the fight being a little one-sided. And I thought that at the time, Stephen Kobo Fulton, although impressive of a fighter that he was, I still was on a thing that Naoya Inoue was on a different level as a fighter. And I still feel that way to this day. And I have to remind myself that every time that, we're talking about his fights and him coming up, we have to take this into consideration that the Japanese superstar is also getting better. You're talking about tapales, whether he's better from his last fight to this fight. Well, you better add that for the Japanese superstar as well. He's also going to be that much better. Can you imagine him getting better? Jesus Christ. How much better do you want him to be? Faster legs, faster hands. Dutch, look, Doc, I agree. I agree. Faster hands, faster legs. And the one thing you can do, okay, you're you got to let's just say this. You got your traditional speed fighter and good legs, right? Does that make him the fighter? No, I don't think so. What makes him the good fighter is this right here. His ring IQ, his ring generalship, what he does in the moment, his punch selection. Once you got an elite IQ, punch selection, then the speed and the legs. You got that too as well. The gods blessed you with that too as well. Well, then that's just better to the equation, you know? Because I've seen guys with speed zap Judah. And I've seen a guy that was much faster than his opponent get knocked out. I seen Zab Judah got some of the best footwork, and he was just as fast, if not just slightly faster, than Floyd Money Mayweather. And for some reason, Zab Judah got knocked out time and time again. So speed and legs didn't do it for me. It's this right here, right here. The mental fortitude not to make mistakes like Zab Judah made. He was too cocky, too arrogant. He relied too much on his speed and God-given talent. You might have God-given talent, but if you take God-given talent and you match it with hard work and dedication, now that's a force to be reckoned with. That's exactly what this Japanese superstar is doing. He's taking God-given talent and double downing on it with hard work and dedication. That's a recipe for success. And when you got that, you're fighting much more than just a boxer. You're fighting a boxer technician, counter puncher, power puncher, mover. He's everything in one. And that's what I mean. You can have a guy with speed. You can have a guy with legs. But intelligent wise, he's not going to make those kind of mental errors. He's not. And that's what you make a complete fighter, a well-polished fighter. Hell yeah. Thank you. Prince, what's up? He is the monster for a reason. You're damn right he's a monster for a reason. And on December 26th, tapales, he's going to find out what kind of monster he is. And he's going to send shockwaves to the boxing world. Because when Terrence Crawford is no longer the only man to have that unique, distinctive award, and this Japanese fighter comes in and says, knocks on the door and goes, hey, make room because I'm coming into that room too. You're not in there by yourself. The boxing world's going to scramble. They're going to try to put some more records together because they're going to want to keep these records and their names up there. This guy is taking the record book and he's cleaning it out. And then all you're going to see in a little while is just Naoya Inoue, Naoya Inoue, Naoya Inoue, Naoya. That's all you're going to see. These guys are not happy with that shit. I'm telling you right now, they're not. But it is what it is. If you're a man in this world, you never, ever, ever care or allow another man to dictate where you go. And in this sport right here, where you are measured and you are awarded by the ass whoopings you give, bro, take no prisoners, no mercy. I don't care whose name I erase off that board. I'm coming for it. But you're gonna have to know some people. And there's some people, some great legends. I'm not gonna say any names. That they've been there first. And they're rich and they're rubbing elbows with some of these people. And just because they don't want to see him do it, they're gonna do everything in their power to try to stop it. From here on in, it ain't gonna be any easier for him. But he's gonna have to do the same thing he's always been doing. And he's going to have to just keep going forward. But then you have to understand one thing too and keep it in mind. What they're going to try to do is come in between his title run. You have to understand that if he pulls this off, that's 21 consecutive title fights in a row. Nobody's done that. Floyd Mayweather had tune-up fights in between his matches when he jumped up in different weight divisions, right? If the Japanese superstar, first of all, what they got to do is break his first record, right? Meaning, if he wins this fight, unifies all 4 belts, what they're going to try to do is entice him with a fight at 126 or 130 for no belts. They want him to take a fight for no belts because the minute he takes a fight with no belts, if he moves up to the 126 and he can't get a champion to fight him and he vacated all his belts, he's in limbo land. That means his next fight is for no belts, and that record stops right there. He would have to find a champion to continuously fight him or defend his belts. You see? By having the WBO, it makes the next guy your mandatory, right? But what happens if they play some fuck shit? There's a ways around all that. And I know the ways around it. I know boxing pretty good. All the dude got to do is vacate it. The guy that has the belt, the boxing promoter, have he's been run by PBC or one of them, they'll pay him off. You vacate it, and the vacated title will go back to the number 1 and number 2 contender. That leaves the Japanese guy in limbo land. That means he has no title fight to fight him, and they break that record. Yeah, they can do some grimy shit to him like that. I've seen a lot of grimy shit in the sport of boxing. They could also shut him down. They could also shut him down. Luckily, he has Top Rank with him because Top Rank is one of them. Bob Aaron, you know that motherfucker's gonna get it done, because he wants that money, right? But as far as getting him to get the 4-man, it's gonna be tough. If Bob Aaron can entice these people in the PBPCs, it depends who has the belts, man. It really does at the time. But I believe they're gonna get on some fuck shit because they're not gonna want him to beat these records. Like I said, I keep saying it. Not everybody's happy that he's doing this. So what up, Chang? Tank need power to win, but not monster. Good point. So what you're saying is Tank needs his power to win the fight, but the monster doesn't need his power to win. I can kind of see that. So what you're saying is you don't think that Tank's boxing ability can win and secure him the fight for the 12 rounds? You have a strong argument and a strong case. Because had he not had his power, he was losing that fight against Mario Barrios. So his boxing ability wasn't winning him the fight. What won Tank Davis that fight was his punching power. Now, Naoya Inoue wasn't losing any fight he's ever had, meaning his boxing ability was winning him the fight. His punching power closed the fight. Good point, my man. I'll just fill in the blanks for you so that everybody hears what you were saying, because that's basically probably what you were thinking. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in for you, right? But I know where you were coming from. Am I right or am I right? Was that what you were trying to say? Let me get a R1 for round 1. Well, Tank Davis didn't get outboxed by Eastside Pitbull Cruz. I want they were both wild in the fight, right? Both of them. Eastside Pitbull Cruz is not your traditional boxer, but did he get outslugged? Outslugged? Yeah, a little bit. The more eye-catching shots in the fight were done by Tank Davis, though. The more eye-catching shots. Eastside Pitbull Cruz is not your boxing technician where that you can kind of say he was outboxed, where he was slipping punches, hitting, countering, hooking, stepping away. He wasn't outboxing him to that aspect. He was trying to outwork him. He was trying to keep the volume high because it was a lot of swinging hooks. Is more of his style. He doesn't have your traditional snapping jab. So, I'm not going to say that Eastside Pitbull Cruz was outboxing Tank Davis, but he was definitely trying to outwork him, so to speak, American British boxing think that the training was hard, and now it puts them in the same. And now Ariana puts him to shame. He's in the gym a day after the fight. And that's what I'm talking about right there, E Boogie. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what I'm talking about. He doesn't take any nights off. He's the type of guy that